There is an old argument for God that the 19th century declared dead. The argument from design. The world looks arranged, therefore there is an arranger. The Midrash in Bereshit Rabbah 39:1 tells it as Abraham's own reasoning. A traveler sees a palace with its lights burning and asks, can it be that the palace has no master? Then Darwin showed how the appearance of design in living things could arise without a designer, and the educated world filed the palace arguments away for good. Today, I want to tell you how, in the last third of the 20th century, the argument climbed out of its grave, not in biology, where it fell, but in physics, where nobody expected it. And this time it returned carrying measurements. Here is the discovery stated plainly. The laws of physics contain a set of fundamental numbers, or constants, that the laws themselves do not explain. The strength of gravity, the strength of the strong nuclear force, the mass of the electron, the energy density of empty space, called the cosmological constant. As far as current physics can tell, these numbers are simply given, dials on the machine, set to particular values. Beginning in earnest in the 1970s, physicists asked an innocent question. What would the universe look like if the dials were set slightly differently? The answer, computed case after case, shook the field. There would be no universe worth mentioning, not a slightly different world, no chemistry, no stars, no time for anything to happen. Let me give you the specifics, because in this subject, the wonder lives in the numbers. The strong nuclear force, a few percent weaker, and hydrogen could not fuse. No stars ever ignite, a universe of cold gas forever. A few percent stronger, and the burning runs away in the early universe. No long-lived suns, no water. The carbon resonance. Fred Hoyle, the same Hoyle who mocked the Big Bang, an atheist by his own account, predicted that carbon could only be built inside stars if its nucleus had an energy level at one precise value. Move it a few percent and the universe holds essentially no carbon and therefore no chemistry of life. The level was sought and found where he predicted. And Hoyle wrote afterwards in print that nothing had shaken his atheism like this. A common sense interpretation of the facts, he said, suggested that a super intellect has, in his words, monkeyed with physics as well as with chemistry and biology. That is not a rabbi talking, that is the man who named the Big Bang as an insult. The neutron outweighs the proton by about 0.1%. Reverse that sliver and protons decay. Atoms cannot exist, and the periodic table is a blank page. And the most extreme case, the cosmological constant. Quantum theory suggests the vacuum's energy could naturally be enormous. Observation shows it is tuned small to roughly 1 part in 10 to the 120th power. There are perhaps 10 to the 80th atoms in the observable universe. The improbability outruns the inventory of matter itself. Slightly larger, and space blows apart before galaxies form. Slightly more negative, and the cosmos recollapses before a single sunrise. Leonard Susskind calls it the most fine-tuned fact in physics. Roger Penrose calculated the precision of the universe's initial low entropy state at 1 part in 10 to the 10 to the 123rd, a number, he noted, that could not be written out in full using every particle in the universe as a digit. And the tuning continues down in your kitchen. Water. Nearly every liquid contracts when it freezes. Water expands, so ice floats. If ice sank, lakes and oceans would freeze from the bottom up into permanent tubes. Instead, the ice roofs the water and insulates the life below. Add water's anomalous heat capacity, its power as a solvent, its surface tension climbing the vessels of trees. One ordinary substance carrying a portfolio of life-enabling exceptions. Now, what does an honest thinker do with this? There are 3 roads. Road 1, coincidence. The dials just happen to be set for stars, carbon, and children. At 1 part in 10 to the 120th, I will let the physicists answer for me. Freeman Dyson, again, no orthodox believer, surveying these facts, wrote that the universe, in some sense, must have known we were coming. When improbability reaches these scales, luck is not an explanation, it is the refusal of one. Road 2, the multiverse, and I will state it fairly because it is the serious alternative. Perhaps our universe is one of a vast ensemble, each with dials set at random. Then it is no surprise we find ourselves in a habitable one, since only there could anyone find anything. Joined to certain inflationary theories, this is respectable theoretical physics. But note three things. The other universes are, by construction, unobservable. The theory purchases its explanation in coin that can never be inspected, an odd endpoint for empiricism. Second, an ensemble of universes needs its own generating mechanism with its own laws. The question of who set those dials moves up one floor rather than disappearing. And third, notice the price. To avoid one unobservable God, the theory postulates a near infinity of unobservable worlds. I do not say it's false. I say that a person who accepts that trade should be gentler about ours. Road 3 is Abraham's. The palace has a master. And I want to be precise about what kind of argument this is, because it is often misrepresented. Fine tuning is not God of the gaps. It does not say science cannot explain something, therefore God. It points at what science has explained. The explanations all terminate in a set of numbers exquisitely arranged for the possibility of light, chemistry, and life. The design claim is not hiding in our ignorance, it is standing in plain sight in our knowledge. And here the Jewish sources have been waiting with the vocabulary already prepared. Psalm 104. How many are your works, O Lord? All of them you made with wisdom. With wisdom, bechokhmah, not by dice. The Midrash's image of God consulting the Torah as an architect consults a blueprint is precisely a claim of creation by specification. And Isaiah 45:18, in a verse I would set over the door of every physics department. He did not create it to be chaos, he formed it to be inhabited. Lo tohu bara'a lashevet yetzara. That is the anthropic observation stated as doctrine 26 centuries before the cosmological constant was measured. The universe is not indifferent to habitation. Habitation is the point. The honest boundary, as always. Fine tuning does not prove God. No measurement names the one who spoke to Moses, and a wise Jew does not rest the Torah on the current state of cosmology. What fine tuning does is narrower and still enormous. It demolishes, on science's own evidence, the claim that a clear eyed look at the universe points to blind accident. Abraham's question, can the palace have no master, is back on the table in the physics colloquium. In the next episode, down into the quantum world, where matter dissolves into possibility, where limits on knowing are woven into the fabric, and where the case against free will quietly fell apart.